When I started coming 3 years ago, I didn't really have a plan for where anything was going, but getting everyone's feedback and just seeing what worked and what didn't, and just, you get so much confidence from coming to things like this and sharing with people that love to write as much as you do, that have a story to tell. And 3 years ago, almost to the day when Pulse happened, I came here and I didn't know what else to do. I wrote a piece sitting at Sleeping Moon, I think we were going to. I wrote a piece at Sleeping Moon right before I got on stage, and it helped more than anything in that moment. I needed it. I just needed to talk to everybody and to hear what they had to say. And so it's crazy being here 3 years later on this stage, and just thank you so much for having me tonight. I typically write short fiction, and the Battle of 1602, the illustrated short fiction collection that's kind of in the works for being published and represented, was all worked out here. Every single story was worked out here on this stage. So tonight I'm actually going to read a little bit of nonfiction. We're going to see where that goes, and I hope you'll help me work that out as well. So this is called Go West. Oh, and it's going to be a little bit long, but I've accrued my time because I haven't been here for a year, so. All right, so Go West. It's 10 a.m. in the valley, and there's a fucking coyote running past the front of my car. I'm still outside the nationally protected land across from a shopping plaza selling oat milk lattes and spray tans. At least 2 miles from Red Rock Canyon, even with a Taco Bell in view, somehow I'm already in the wilderness. I left on Charleston Boulevard. I leave what could have been a great morning snack of bean burritos behind, knowing I have 3 liters of water, 2 protein bars, and 1 banana in my brand new hiking bag. My shoes aren't quite broken in either, but still, I'm almost 10 pounds down since moving to this elevation, and not even a Baja Blast is going to stop my progress. I relocated to the desert for a reason. I'm here to conquer mountains. It's July in Las Vegas, and I'm a toasty little Quiznos sub baking under the red-hot coils of a cloudless Mojave mid-morning sun in my fitted tank top and shortest pair of jean shorts. There's a subtle, yet stylish, rainbow ribbon around the middle of my straw hat, as if I'm going to meet some guy out here that likes snakes just as much as I do. The Grand Circle Loop starts at the Red Rock Visitor Center, which is basically an homage to shipped-in geodes, wildlife t-shirts, and Gatorade vending machines. But I don't stop to shop today. I park the car, and with the plastic snaps on my bag fastened around my chest and belly fat, I hit the white sand and gravel that passes the connecting trail to the first part of the Moenkopi. Little creatures I've been calling chipmunks for months, but in reality are white-tailed squirrels, scurry across the path. There's brilliant reds, browns, and oranges in every direction. Ranges towering high and just slightly blurred, like movie backdrops that never seem real. Like you're walking toward an idea of a mountain that always just sort of feels like decent art direction, even once you reach them. As if you're touching layers of painted fiberglass meant to feel like solid rock. The Disney-funded replication of the American Southwest. The water is still cold in my bag. There's 2 trays worth of cubes squeezed into the plastic bladder connecting to the tube with the nozzle that fits into my mouth. I suck it like a chubby little hamster as a shirtless runner glides by my left side. All abs and a little beer, he nods at me in pleasant trail etiquette, attempting to return the gesture. I spill ice-cold water from the spout down my chin and tank top. He laughs and yells, "Be careful out there, it's a hot one." I cough from the accidental current flooding in my mouth and yell back, "Thanks." He's already out of ear range. I'm not counting the miles, just trying to reach the rocks at Willow Spring before I turn around. The printed map I was given at the guard station promises petroglyphs, little ancient stone carvings and coded messages, but it also calls the area a spring. And if there's anything I've learned about the Mojave already, it's that to never assume there will be water anywhere. The map is all muted hues of beige, yellow, and blue, like all the matching architecture in the suburbs here. And if I'm guessing, I'm somewhere across the Wash Overlook and halfway to my destination. It's 1 p.m. when I reach Willow Spring, where the number 6 and the number 9 trail connect on the map, and I pull a bar from my bag. These bars, they're not really food, more the illusion of food. All processed sugar and the kind of thing that should only be a snack when you're doing something extremely physically demanding. White chocolate macadamia flavored anything, is not health food. But I tell myself, I've earned these calories and let the heat of the afternoon radiate onto my bare shoulders. My backpack feels lighter from whatever water I've been siphoning like a rodent for the past 3 hours, but it's hard to say how much is left. The map says I've hiked 6 miles, and my legs are starting to agree. Wrapping up the sugar-coated foil and stuffing it into the zippers of my bag, I trace my fingers over the paper map around the remainder of the Grand Circle loop that will eventually round back to the visitor center and my car, just 7 miles in the other direction. The plan was to go back the way I came, but there's new mountains calling me from the other side of the canyon, voices that say, 6 miles back on the same path, or 7 miles of new adventure. So I tighten my bag on my chest and tell the voices, why the fuck not? By the time I hit White Rock, the sun is completely overhead. Joshua trees, although beautiful in their Seussical sort of way, are bullshit when it comes to shade. And with the elevation change comes inclines, and real climbing my body is less equipped for compared to other activities like potlucks and all-you-can-eat sushi. But I push myself up the slants over and over, knowing I've already made my decision. I'm completely diagonal from where my car sits, parked and ready to blast delicious air conditioning. A few wheel turns away from a chalupa, or gordita, or anything with guacamole. I sip my water and find a rock to perch on, pull the warm banana from my bag. I'm closer to the finish than the start, and this spotted, sun-cooked banana is my victory dance. Leaning on the smoldering hot rock, I can hear something rattling through the peaceful quiet of my snack break. From the corner of my eye, first I see the rings, then the diamonds. Then a really pissed off snake who probably is upset I didn't offer to share my sad fruit basket with him. This is his house, and I didn't even bring a party gift. So I respectfully sidestep away through the sand with the kind of fear that makes my heart fall straight out of my ass. And then I drop the peel and the last bite of banana in the dirt as an offering. It's 3 p.m., and I have 2 liters of water, 1 protein bar, 0 bananas. Belly full of sugar and tropical fruit, I realize the next part of the scenic drive tourists can take to see the mountain ranges. It's suddenly hotter than it's been all day, and the sun is taunting me through my straw hat. I haven't heard from the locals that nobody hikes Red Rock in the summer, especially not in July. That being out there when the temperature reaches over 100 degrees could be a death sentence. But I had a backpack. I had hiking shoes. I had a compass bracelet with a little built-in knife in case I needed to slowly James Franco my own arm off. I was totally prepared. There's a parking area at Sandstone Quarry where I see a handful of cars, but no people. There's somewhere in the canyons climbing in places with shade that I don't know exist yet. I finally see one older man pulling climbing gear out of his trunk and take the chance to ask him how much further he thinks it could be to the visitor center. Any shortcuts? Also, is there any place to fill my water? I'm throwing every sentence at him that's been in my head for the last few hours, and he looks terrified. He tells me, no water, no shortcuts, and probably another 5 miles. What I should have been asking him were the chances he'd let me jump into his Volkswagen and give me a ride back to my car. Like, in a totally non-sexual way, how much could I pay him to give me a much-needed ride? But instead, I'm looking at him, 30 years my senior, and ready to scale his own mountains. I tell myself to push through. 5 miles is nothing. I can treat myself to that Taco Bell I've been denying myself for months. That if I can make it the full 13 miles, I would have finally earned it. Because what I've been doing out here is learning the spelling difference between dessert and desert. Trying new things. Pushing the limits of what I thought I was capable of doing. And what good would this adventure be if I bailed now? If I asked this man to take me back to my creature comforts and black bean rice bowls instead of ending this day high-fiving a fucking desert tortoise and knowing I did a 13-mile solo hike. But while I'm busy thinking about friendly turtles and crunchy tacos, I slip on some loose gravel and my left leg does a full Tara Lipinski right behind me. That's after I said thank you and goodbye to the man with the ropes and the carabiners and made my way down to the next connecting path on the other side of the parking lot towards the Calico 2 area. It's probably after 4 p.m., and I'm hunched down near the scorching sand where another area of the dark-paced scenic drive overlaps with the hiking trails. It's not by choice, but I'm holding my leg near my hip, trying to stretch out whatever unidentifiable muscle I've pulled. I'm sweating and out of breath, moaning in pain. I must look terrible to the few cars occasionally passing by the crossover, just trying to take in the scenery while there's this disheveled queer mess of a man casually dying to their left. They paid $15 just to drive the loop with their grandmothers and children, and this suffering hiker was certainly not on the map they were given at the guard station. A biker using the blacktop stops next to me. Her tires are intentionally thick so they don't melt on the pavement. With her white hair tucked under her cloth visor, she asks, "Doing okay?" in a way that makes it very clear she already knows I'm not. She offers me cold water, which at first I deny because I don't want to dig into her personal supply. But I'm fully aware I'm running low in my bag and the ice cubes are long since melted. I take a few sips and hand back her bottle. I tell her as casually as possible how far I've been walking and my intended destination being the visitor center. There's really real concern in her eyes when she says, with what could be potentially a familiar southern accent, "Well, if you take the blacktop here, it's a solid 2.5 miles back, but..." She trails off while she pulls out a digital device, a thermometer or some equipment I'm unfamiliar with, being this inexperienced. It's 112 degrees on the asphalt and 102 on the trails. It'll be 4 miles if you stick to the path. Straight shot or not, 112 degrees of anything sounds like the wrong decision. And this literal crossroad, I thank her for the information and force myself to my feet. She pulls an unopened orange Gatorade dripping with beautiful condensation from a bag on her bike and holds it out to me. I tell her, "No thank you, I'm not really a fan of Gatorade." Nodding with some surprise, she wishes me luck, then rides on. Walking over the scenic drive and into the canyons of the Calicos, I make my choice to continue the road more often taken, and what I'm assuming to be the safer choice. I've been alone for another hour or so when I hit the Calico 1 parking area, the moment I've been waiting for, my connection to the Moenkopi Trail that will lead me to the last mile towards the visitor center, to freedom, to air conditioning, to people in drive-through windows who want to give me warm tortillas full of pico de gallo. All I have to do is make it up this last gravelly incline and I'll be on my way. Calico 1 is the most popular place for all the tourists to stop. And if you see the pictures on social media tagged Red Rock Canyon, it's someone in street clothes standing on some rock with a grand landscape behind them. They're all at the Calico 1 parking area. All they did was get out of their car to walk a couple hundred feet and snap a picture. It's the first and most visually impressive stop on the scenic drive. Holding my leg and moaning up every step, there are families eating McDonald's and Instagram models with ring lights on either side of me. I can only assume by the look of me they think I've crawled out of the mountains where I must live amongst the wildlife. I don't look cute at all by the time I reach the top and trace the faded signage for arrows towards my connecting trail. I stand on my tiptoes for any side of the visitor center. Nothing. No arrows, no signs, no connecting trail. The map says it's to the west, and on my combination knife compass, the arrow says west is to the right. But there's nothing to my right, just the parking lot and the scenic drive. The only path continues the way I've been going all day. Confused and defeated, I slump into the only shade I've seen in a while in the shadow of the outhouse in the lot. It smells pungent like lime and urine, but I'm exhausted. So I'm weighing my options when this heavy girl with straight shiny hair and an English accent says in my direction, "My goodness, are you a hiker?" I think about this for a while before I answer with a nod because in this moment I'm not sure what I am. A hiker, a crazy person, a total fish out of water from the safe Florida waters. She asks me how far I walked and I'm not exaggerating when I tell her 12 miles. I'm not lying when I say I'm hoping I'm close to the end because I'm almost out of provisions. She looks amazed, and something about that makes me feel motivated, like I'm doing something impressive, that I am powerful. She says, "I'm certain you'll make it. The desert is such a beautiful place." Then sips from a can of Pepsi and boards a small tour bus on the other side of the parking lot. The bus is starting its engine, and so much of me wants to run after it frantically and ask if I can hitch a ride. Just get back before I have to start actually worrying about dehydration. I tell my back, and if the only path is the one I've been taking, then it must be the right path. I'll be back in the car before the sun goes down, and I can slowly slip the last liter of water in my bag. I'm going to be fine. The bus drives away. and I all but slide down the incline back the path to continue to the Calicos. I leave civilization behind and head back into the wilderness. It's getting close to 6 p.m. and I'm surrounded by tall canyons on either side. Even if I wanted to go directly west at this point, I couldn't. So I just continue on the trail. Eventually the canyons open up into a wide clearing. The reds, browns, and oranges replace the grays and whites, all gravel and sand, cactus and Joshua trees, but no clear path. I'm officially fucking lost. I have no idea where I am on the map or if I'm even on the map at all. I find west on my compass and head that direction. It's all inclines and I'm making inhuman noises as I struggle up them with my legs still messed up from my triple sow cow. Finding the tallest hill, I force myself to the top and try to find any sight of the visitor center. Nothing. I am so fucking lost and thirsty. I put the spout from my bag to my lips and suck out the water hot as morning tea. It's the last sip. I suck harder and harder. Nothing. I have 0 liters of water, 0 protein bars, and 0 bananas. My phone has been an overpriced camera at this point in my pocket. Jackrabbits don't need cell service and couldn't afford the family plan anyway. But I'm out of options, so I pull it out and start wandering, hoping for just one bar. Eventually it comes, and I Google search for any phone number for Red Rock Canyon. I call one and get an office answering machine for Brenda in the conservation education. I call another and get through to the gift shop at the visitor center. On the other end, a young woman says her name is Brittany. And I tell her, Brittany, girl, send a ranger. Help me. I am lost and I am out of water. Brittany, can you hear me? And Brittany, startled, tells me, we don't have rangers? She tells me, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. She says, just call 911 and see if they can find you, but it could take a while, and the call drops. My signal is gone. Thanks, Sprint. Thanks, Brittany. And now, all I want in the world is that orange Gatorade. The one the biker woman offered to me. I want to drink it all down in one swallow with my scorching hot throat. My lips are so dry and chapped they're sucking in on themselves, but somehow I'm still moving. It's sort of funny that I don't like Gatorade, because I recently found out Baja Blast is 50% Mountain Dew and 50% Blue Powerade. I like neither of those things, but the combination of both is incredibly enjoyable. 2 things I don't like creating something I do. Sort of like extreme heat and poisonous snakes. This is when I finally fall. When my body completely gives out and my hierarchy of needs turns into only a bottom base level. Air, food, water. But mostly water. All my sim meters are in the red and I have no way to fix it. I notice there are cactus spines sticking out of the rubber sole of my hiking shoes while I collapse into the sand against a rock. There's a long ringed tail sticking out from under the rock right next to me. It could be a large lizard or another rattlesnake, but I feel myself just say out loud, just do your thing, buddy. Speaking for the first time in hours makes my lips hurt. They feel torn and bloody, and it finally hits me. I'm going to die out here. I'm going to become one of those bodies horseback riders and hikers find on the trails. And for a minute, I'm just glad I wore something cute. That this outfit is going to be the one they find me in. They're going to see my little yellow car parked overnight at the visitor center and realize someone didn't come back. So eventually they'll make the connection, find my ID in the car, and call my parents to let them know it only took 3 months for the desert to kill their son. Tell them my less interesting version of Into the Wild. And at least Christopher McCandless was in the snow, freezing to death instead of drying up in 0 humidity. What I wouldn't give for a snowflake. I'd do a dance any requested right this second for just a drop of rain. It's getting closer to sunset, which issues a new set of problems. The upside being the sun will be gone, so perhaps I'd be able to move again, but I'd just be wandering in the dark. The coyotes didn't install streetlights, and they only like to party at night. The snakes, too. Above me, and what's left of the daylight, vultures are starting to circle. The beautiful wilderness has turned on me, and I just want to pull out my phone again, call back Brenda in conservation education, and leave my life story on her voicemail. But I can't. It's quiet and peaceful, and for a moment I wonder if maybe this isn't the worst way to die. If the tranquility of the mountains I'd sought out and come to love could be my own version of falling asleep and never waking up again. I'm not even breathing heavily anymore. My eyes are starting to shut on their own, and the pounding in my head from the heat has almost subsided. My mind feels clear. That's when I hear it. A motor. Somewhere in the distance, in the opposite direction I've been heading, there's a car. It can't be from the Calico parking area. I'm miles from there by now, and I'd never make it back even if I turned around. But this new sound, this vehicle to the east, maybe I can make it there. So I look to the thick tail on the ground, the setting sun, and the vultures in the sky to tell them, not fucking yet. I bring myself to my feet and drag myself across the sand for half a mile or so as the roar of the occasional vehicle gets closer. Eventually I find a road that is definitely not part of the scenic drive and protected with a barbed wire fence. But if you think a little barbed wire is going to stand between you and your own survival, just ask James Franco. Because I would have done nothing short of slowly sawing my own arm off with a tiny serrated knife to see my cats again. To sit naked in my living room eating Tex-Mex fast food. To be able to call my mom and let her know I made it back to my apartment safely. I had to take off my hiking bag and throw it over to fit through the fence. I cut my hands and tank top on the bars as I climb and push myself through, but eventually I'm on the other side. Before me is an empty road. I drag my bag with me and stand directly in the middle of it. All social norms and pleasantries out the window. I'm not giving the next car a choice whether or not to stop. I am demanding they stop. Only some of how crazy I look actually hits me. When I'm standing there with my arms raised high and my rainbow straw hat for what feels like forever, I'm wondering if I would stop for me. If I were in the comfort of my car listening to show tunes, would I swerve around or pump the brakes for the man in the tank top and the short shorts waving his arms at me? Would I risk my life to be his savior, knowing this could be some sort of scam? Something like when a person pretends they have a flat tire on the highway, then some good Samaritan stops to help them, they rob them or assault them in some way. Is that what the next car is going to think of me? A red SUV is approaching. It's been my first shot since shoving myself through the fence. All stigmata hands and ripped clothes, sweaty, chapped, desperate. They slow down and brake in front of me. I can finally see the face of the man driving the vehicle, and he and the woman in the passenger seat look terrified of me. It's a common theme of the day. The man rolls down the window and cautiously projects, "You all right, friend?" I want to cry when I tell him my abridged story. Still standing in my position on the road, legs and arms spread like a big giant gay X blocking their way. I'm just hoping that somewhere on the back of that SUV is a Hillary or a Bernie sticker, or even if there's not, that some Chick-fil-A eating douchebag isn't going to let me die out here just because of the 5-inch inseam of my shorts or the pattern on my hat. Still cautious, he says, "Well, you better get in then, I suppose." His wife is still visibly shaken from the other seat. Some of me feels terrible being raised in the Southeast for the imposition I'm about to cause. But so much more of me is thankful I'm inside a car while the sun is disappearing behind the mountains. Turns out, this man had been born here before moving to Ohio to experience different scenery. His story echoing my story, but in reverse. He met his wife there, and he was bringing her to see the desert for the first time to show her where he grew up. He tells me I had passed Calico Basin and had been heading the totally wrong direction for 3 extra miles. That I would have hit the Las Vegas Strip before I made it back to the visitor center. He laughs. I want to laugh with him, but at best I have a few words left in me. I want to turn on a little charm to make it clear to his wife I have no intention of murdering them in their car. It hadn't even occurred to me that I'd also be getting into a car with strangers, that this would be my first experience hitchhiking. It was a lot of firsts for hikes that day. It was a 15-minute drive to get back to the guard station and into the Red Rock Canyon. I wished I had brought money or had an extra protein bar left in my bag to show my appreciation for the ride and the kindness, but instead I just said the word gratitude, and I really, truly meant it. I told them I would never forget that they had saved my life. I did turn on the AC once I found my little yellow car alone in the dark lot, but I drove in silence and I didn't stop at Taco Bell. I didn't get a chalupa or a gordita or anything with guacamole. I actually didn't eat for 2 days because of extreme dehydration. But if pushing myself through 16 miles of desolate wilderness, rattlesnakes, and hungry coyotes taught me anything, it's that whether you want a Baja Blast or an adventure, sometimes west isn't the direction your compass is pointed. West is whatever direction you need to keep growing as a person. Thank you, guys.